Welcome to your Barbados Today Evening News Update for Monday, October 21. Thanks for joining us. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Government ramps up efforts to address coastal vulnerabilities in the country. Today, stakeholders gathered at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center for a series of meetings geared at gathering information on a draft policy paper which summarizes methods to achieve coastal resilience, among other things. Deputy Director of Coastal Zone Management, Antonio Rowe, told reporters following the opening session his agency has identified coastal areas prone to sea swells and coastal erosion along the west and south coasts, aimed at determining and implementing feasible mitigating measures within the next 2 years.
We want to have an integrated approach to coastline management. And also, you want to really reduce the exposure of the critical coastal infrastructure to the hazards such as storm surge, coastal erosion, sea level rise, earthquakes, whatever. Because when you look at the amount of critical infrastructure that's actually situated in the coastline, and I'm not just talking tourism plan, which is 70, 80%. We're talking about residents, we're talking about fire stations, we're talking about police stations, all these things. And from some of our studies already, and looking at inundation zones, which inundation just meaning how far in water would come if you had a storm surge. And you're seeing in some low-lying areas, the hospital and these different places that could actually be impacted. This kind of analysis we're going through now in terms of the policy part of it, the planning part of it. We want to develop a coastline that shows that you're taking all this stuff into consideration.
Healthcare-associated infections and risks of antimicrobial resistance in Barbados are under control. That's according to Dr. Corey Ford, who is the consultant on infectious diseases and the head of infection prevention and control at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. However, Dr. Ford told the opening of a 2-day seminar to mark Infectious Disease Week there was still a lot more work to be done.
Success has been gained and has been shown in units within the hospital. And I want to highlight the surgical intensive care unit, where we have demonstrated quite ably a reduction in costs through better use of resources and better use of antibiotics. And we expect that later this year that we will work with our surgical colleagues in the urology unit.
Meantime, PAHO's interim representative for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean told those gathered that the region needed to collect more data on pathogens and antimicrobial resistance.
So our countries that we are taking action, they realize that we have a problem at hand, and the resources are being put together to ensure that we can deal effectively with this problem. Dr. Ford has mentioned antimicrobial stewardship programs. Well, we are making progress, as he mentioned, but I see that in this area, we still have some way to go. So it is our intention in the next 2 years to work with the countries to strengthen the capacity for antimicrobial stewardship programs across the Caribbean.
Successfully tackling the scourge of illegal drugs in the region requires a rounded and well-coordinated, multifaceted approach. Minister of Youth and Community Empowerment Adrian Ford made the comment in his keynote address at this morning's opening of the first Caribbean Youth Forum on Drug Use Prevention at the Hilton Hotel. He told the participants they must champion the cause for young people in order to find root causes of the scourge.
You must be the messengers. You must be able to champion the cause of our young people and to say, this is the way how we do it. These are the success stories of a drug-free life. These are the alternatives.
There's regional and international news after this short break. It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Craft Center. Kick off the weekend this Friday from 4 p.m. to midnight with loads of food, drinks, and entertainment. Get ready for Crop Over with the Rhythm Roots Street Parade. Party like it's Kadooman Day on the street around Pelican Village with costume reveler, music, and more. It's Festive Friday. It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Village Center from 4 p.m. to midnight. Admission free.
To news from our regional neighbors now, we head to Trinidad, where a sting operation in St. Anne's has led to the arrest of dozens of men and women, most of them non-nationals. Police also seized numerous guns, narcotics, and large sums of money. We get more in this report from CNC3 TV.
Police Commissioner Gary Griffith told us there were at least 3 TNT nationals taken into custody, but many of the women found at the residence are non-nationals and cannot speak English. He said most of the women could be minors and none of them had identification. The women were taken to the police training academy for further processing.
We get in the interpreters. I've also brought in the child protection unit, the victim and witness support unit, the counter-trafficking unit. So there's a lot of work that's being done on this matter.
The top cop says anyone found to be complicit in this particular crime will feel the full extent of the law. Several of the patrons who were at the site also were taken into police custody. According to the top cop, police got intelligence about the goings-on at the house in question.
We found advertisements asking individuals to come up there showing with videos of women, Latin dancers, and their tickets were issued, bands were given. And when we went in there were a number of women wearing very little, and then there were lots of men there. They paid. There was a cover charge to get in.
Commissioner Griffith indicates that those non-national women now in custody who are guilty of a crime will be given an opportunity to cooperate with police.
So they may have whether they have the get out of jail free card that was given to the thousands of Venezuelans recently. They can very well be deported. If, however, some of them are willing to come forward, be honest, be straightforward, then there can be some type of dialogue done that can give them a degree of amnesty.
And on the international scene, Israel's long-standing Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said he cannot form a government, handing the opportunity to his political rival. The Prime Minister has been in power for the past decade, but was unable to secure a majority after September's elections failed to produce a clear winner. Get the details in this Reuters TV report.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Monday he's giving up his effort to form a new government after failing to form a coalition following an inconclusive parliamentary election. Netanyahu, who heads the right-wing Likud party, said he was returning the mandate back to Israel's president, Reuven Rivlin. Rivlin said he intends to task Netanyahu's centrist rival, Benny Gantz, with the job of putting together a new government. In a Facebook video, Netanyahu blamed Gantz for the failure.
In the past weeks, I made every effort to bring Benny Gantz to the negotiating table, every effort to establish a broad national government, every effort to avoid another election.
Gantz also has no clear path to a majority, and should he come up short, it would almost certainly lead to another general election, the third since April. Gantz's Blue and White Party said in a statement it was determined to form a liberal unity government. Netanyahu has been in power for the past decade, but has seen his political strength wane as he faces a looming indictment on corruption allegations, which he denies. Gantz, a former military chief, has pledged not to serve in a government under a leader facing criminal charges.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I'm for